For now, you have suggested that you want to learn about logic and writing a proof for
Yeah.
geometry. Okay, so can we start?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
So by the way, if you were in grade 8, you have, I'm sure that you have already know about logic. Okay? So what did you learn about logic? The word logic. What is it?
Actually, when it was first introduced to us, it was at the end of the school year, and they didn't really like they taught us the topic, but then it wasn't really they didn't give us the foundation for it first.
Okay. So
So what I know is that it's just you're using logic to support why you decided to use this step in solving.
okay, yes, it's a logical reasoning. Yeah, right. But sometimes a logic might be um, false when it is not giving a proof, right? So logically speaking, in mathematical, it is the formal mathematical study of the methods, structure, and validity of mathematical deduction and proof. Okay, so when we say deduction, it means to say that we are using deductive logical reasoning. So, what did you learn about deductive logical reasoning? It's about general to specific. Okay, so from general, then we have to drop it into conclusion or the more specific one. Okay, right? Okay, so the purpose of logic is to distinguish whether correct forms of argument from incorrect forms or of the argument. So, yes, you're right. We are using logic or logical reasoning when we are proving something. Uh, so, like for example, we have the premises all spiders have 8 legs. Black widows are a type of spider. So, our conclusions might be black widows have 8 legs. So, what do you think is this right or wrong?
That's right.
Yeah, very good. So, it is logically correct because we will have a proof that the black widows have 8 legs. Okay. So for the second one, logic considers not only the word that exists, but also other potential words the way things could be. Okay, so logic considers, okay, so redundant. I mistaken it. Okay, like for example, it is raining here. So logically, it is raining here. For me, it is correct because it is raining here. But for you, I think it's not raining there.
Yeah, it's not.
So it's logically wrong for you. Case because it is raining here, it's for me it's correct, but for you it's not correct. So I have a proof, and I can take a picture of it to prove that it is correct, but for you it's not. So when it's not proven, it is not logically correct. Okay, when they have a proof, then you can have a logical reasoning to prove it or the argument to prove it. Okay, to make the logic correct. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, so for now, a logic consists of a set of statements or a syntax, an assignment of meaning to the statements or semantic, and a method of proving statements. So logical reasonings, a method of proving statements. So we have many more to prove geometrical statements or geometric logic. We are using, like for example, postulates, theorems, actions. So, are you familiar with those?
Yes.
Very good. You're so pretty.
Thank you.
Okay. So, can we proceed to the next slide?
Yes.
Okay. So, warm up muna tayo. Determine whether each statement, okay, so it is now a geometric proof. Okay, so we are um, uh, moving on to the geometric proof. Since we are in, I already introduced to the logic, then we now move on to the geometric. Okay, so we are using logical reasoning here in geometric proof. Ah, so warm up muna tayo. Determine whether a statement is true or false. If false, give a counter example. Okay, so if false, you have to give me the logical reason. Why is it false or why is it true? Okay? Okay. So for number one, if two angles are complementary, then they are not congruent. Is it true or is it false?
I'm not sure if I remember because the problem with when we were taught this topic at school, it's that they gave us this lesson, but then they didn't give us the basis of. They didn't give us a recall of geometry.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's make a recall to a geometry. Okay, so when we say complementary angles, the two angles, angle 1 and angle 2, when you add them together, it becomes 90 degrees. Okay, so angle 1, measure of angle 1 plus measure of angle 2 is equal to 90 degrees. Okay, so that is complementary. When we say supplementary angles, it is the angle 1 and angle 2, when you add them together, it becomes 180 degrees. Okay, when complementary, what again? If you add them, it becomes
90 degrees.
okay, very good. What about the supplementary? It becomes
180.
okay, very good. So, this topic is very complex kasi. So, we have to move on the fundamentals or the basic one. You have to remember the postulate, the triangles, like that. Okay? So, okay.
I also remember when they taught this topic to us. They gave us a handout, like a paper with all the postulates and the theorems, but they never really explained it.
Okay, so you don't have some prior knowledge about the postulates?
No,
The
they just made us read it.
Okay. So, I thought you have a prior knowledge because you are jumping into this one, the geometric proof. And I thought you have already know about the postulates and the theorems. But anyways, when we are moving on, I will show you what theorems or postulates you will use. Okay. So for this one now, what is your answer by our we have learned about complementary supplementary. So what's the answer of number one?
I remember congruent means they
are equal.
Yeah.
Yes. So what do you think? If two angles are complementary, then they are not congruent.
My thought process is I'm not sure because I don't know what each of the angles look like or what they measure to. So I'm not sure if it can always be congruent. Just because
Okay, so
complementary.
okay, so I'll tell you, okay? So it is false because you can have a 45 and 45 angles. Because 45 plus 45 is equal to 90. But not all of the complementary angles are congruent, okay? There were some, but not all. Okay? So this one is false because then they are not congruent. Well, I can say that they are congruent because two angles, 45 plus 45 is a complementary angle and they are equal. Okay, so I can say that they are congruent. And I can say that this statement, number one, is wrong. Or it's false. What about number two? If two angles are congruent to the same angle, then they are congruent to each other.
It's true.
Okay, very good. So it's true. What about number three? If two angles are supplementary, then they are. Daddy! I'm sorry. That's my father. Okay, number three. If two angles are supplementary, then they are congruent. What
I
do you
already
think?
saw that the answer was true, but I think it's true because they equal to 90 degrees and 90
Okay, very good. So you are learning that. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy, Emma. You're so beautiful. Okay, so this is true because we have 90 degrees and 90 degrees. When you combine them together, it becomes 180 degrees. Okay,
Is it
so
okay if I can get my notes from the school
of
year?
course,
Okay.
you listening. Okay, so vocabulary we have Darren and two column proof. But before that, you have to remember that when writing a proof, it is important to justify each logical step with a reason. Okay, so do not jump into number 3 when number 2 doesn't have a proof or doesn't have a reason. Okay, so you can use symbols and abbreviations, but they must be clear enough so that anyone who reads your proof will understand them. Okay, so first you have to know your hypothesis. Okay, so your hypothesis, it will become your statements. Okay, so it will become your assumptions. Okay, so like for example, I am proving right triangle. I am proving right triangle that is equal to right triangle. So I'll jot down angle 1 or the right triangle from there is equal to the right triangle from there, and it is the congruency of the right triangle, the postulates. Okay, so angle 1 is equal to angle 2. And my reason, they are right angles. And right angle and all right angles are equal. Okay, it's postulate, Euclidean postulates section 3, like, I don't know, but it must. Okay, so if you know Euclid's postulates, from Euclid's postulates. Okay. So you search this, okay? So Euclid's postulates, it says there that all right angles are equal. So you have to know your hypothesis or your assumption. Then you have to know your definitions, the postulates, the properties, and the theorems. Okay, so I have here postulates from Euclid's. Do you like to scan like that
Yeah.
for you to have a background check? Okay. Wait.